Hello everyone, welcome to today's session where we're going to resume our discussion of the essay on the pleasures of no longer being very young, where Chesterton furthers his views in elaborating the true advantages of old age. He writes this, like so many of the realizations of later life, is quite impossible to convey in words to anybody who has not reached it in this way. So what he is trying to say here, that process is important, that the process of shifting or transitioning from the young age to old age, or and when person becomes old, when person comes to his or her later life, the realizations are impossible to convey in words. They are just realizations and experience which a man incorporates in his personality, is quite impossible to convey in words, which what man learns along with his age or with the passage of time, with his growing age. It is impossible to convey in words to anybody who has not reached it in this way. So it is not the fault of young man that they are unable to understand the advantages of old age, or what it is to be in your later life, how valuable it is, how valuable experiences you carry with yourself. So it is impossible to convey in words until the any person reached it in this way in its full process. It is like a difference of dimension or plane, in which something which the young have long looked at rather wearily as a diagram has suddenly become a solid. So what Chesterton is hammering home here, or what Chesterton is trying to hammer home here, that it is like a difference, that the old things are totally on a different planes for a young people. Their planes are different. For example, it is just a difference like dimension or plane and a diagram. Dimension or plane is a measure of a spatial extent in terms of length, breadth and depth, whereas young age, in young age there is just a diagram which becomes dimension, which becomes a complete plane with its whole depth. In the old age, it is like a difference of dimension or plane in which something which the young have long looked at, in that dimension there is a dimension already there, truth of life are already there, but when only then only they can measure the depths of that dimension, when young people look at that dimension or those depths wearily, means exhaustively. When man becomes weary, that means when man becomes old, it is in his old age, then dimension, that diagram which was earlier diagram which has only length and breadth earlier, it gains its depth. It is in his old age that when man looks at that diagram wearily, as the diagram has suddenly become a solid, and that diagram becomes complete dimension, a concrete object with all its dimensions, along with its length, breadth and depth. It becomes a solid object. It is like the indescribable transition from the inorganic to the organic. So it can't be described in words. It is just like a shift from the lifeless to the life. And this phrase or this statement, inorganic to the organic, is a reiteration of Chesterton's earlier lines when he was saying that old proverbs and historical facts suddenly become alive, or they come to life when man gains his age, or man gets his old age, or in the later part of his life. So this is just like that. Becoming old is just like that, transitioning from inorganic to the organic, as if the stone snakes and birds of some ancient Egyptian inscription began to leap about like living things. So here very potent visual signifiers. With the help of these potent visual signifiers, Chesterton is proving his point, or clearing his argument, that it is just like that on the carvings of Egyptian have suddenly come to life. Those stones which were stony, snakes and birds, suddenly they have come out from those carvings, and they have become living things. The thing was a dead maxim. When we were alive with youth, it becomes a living maxim when we are nearer to death. So very paradoxically, he is saying, Chesterton is saying that yes, these dead maxims become alive when we are alive we are full of life in our young age. Maxims are dead for us, but they come to life, they come home, they get their real meaning in our life when we are about to die, when we are on our last phase, in our later part of life. So it is very paradoxical. Even as we are dying, the whole world is coming to life. So here Chesterton has presented the irony of life, that it is then only when we have very less moments or very less time left with us of life, then only we begin to understand, the world comes to its life, we begin to understand the spirit of life. We have the better understanding of life when we are dying. It is a paradoxical, but it is seemingly contradictory. In this seemingly contradictory statement, we are led to see very great truth of human psychology and understanding, that man is incapable or unable to understand those realities of life, or the importance of life, or the spirit of those things around him, when he has some amount of life. But it is then only when he is left with less life, or when he is in his later phase of life, then it is sad to note that it is then only he comes to realize the real meaning of all those supposedly dead things, which he used to think that they are dead, they have no meaning, they are stale, stiff, and they have lost their vitality. They come to life. So we come to realize we have better understanding in old age. So it is this, we can say, serene, peaceful and calm view of life, which in old age we get very serene, calm and peaceful view of life, which makes old age valuable to us. Another paradox is this, that it is not the young people who realize the new world. The moderns do not realize modernity. Now again, there is a paradoxical statement Chesterton has given us, that young people do not realize the newness of the things, because they don't have they have never seen the old things. They have always seen the modern new things. So it is just for them, it is just that it is the only thing which they have seen from earlier. It is the only their background, if I say. Another paradox is that it is not the young people who realize the world. Young people can't realize the world, and they can't realize the modernity, they can't realize the newness of the things. It is the old who can realize the newness of the things, because they have seen the old things. They have never known anything else. They have stepped onto a moving platform which they hardly know to be moving, as a man cannot feel the daily movement of the earth. So what Chesterton is trying to clear here, that old men have seen the background of the things, that and he can very well identify, or old man can identify very well the old things, that a certain thing which is supposed to be modern, is it old, or is it new, is it old, or is it a comeback of old things? In the way that, is it a comeback of old things, or is it new? Only old men can recognize, because they have the background, they have already available background, they have seen it properly. But modern man can't realize this newness, because he has the only one background. So on this moving platform, old man can see the whole purview. That's why he can compare, contrast and realize the change, which new man, which the modern man, which the young people can't realize because the platform is not moving for them. They have seen whatever they have uh, uh, whatever was available to them, and it will become a moving platform when they will gain a certain age, and then they will also get their background, and then only they can be able to compare, contrast, and realize the things. They have stepped onto a moving platform which they hardly known to be moving, as a man cannot feel the daily movement of the earth. So here very interesting example Chesterton has given, that we have never felt, or we never feel that how the earth rotates, and it is because we have never experienced that how it feels when earth stops, or when earth starts moving in opposition or opposite direction. And if it happens, the moment it happens, when earth stops or when earth starts moving in opposite direction, we will realize, we will feel that how it feels. We will realize the situation, that how it feels when earth rotates. But we can't feel, because we have already we are already in the situation when earth rotates. We don't know how it feel when earth stops, or when earth, so we have a limited perspectives of life. We don't have a variety of perspectives which an old man has. So through this example, what Chesterton is driving home is that if it is the bounties, or it is the treasure of old age, when he or she has a variety of perspectives by which he can compare, contrast, and realize. So man cannot feel the daily movement of the earth, but he would feel it sharp enough if the earth suddenly moved the other way. If the earth suddenly moved the other way, he will feel it sharp. Okay, that earlier I was moving in this way, now it is this, it is the opposite direction. The older generation consists of those who do remember a time when the world moved the other way. So the older generation consists of those when they have seen that how the world was moving in that way. Now there are radical changes, radical ideas have taken place, and how the change, and they are aware of the of their surroundings, that how the changes are brought about around them. They have seen it very clearly through their own eyes. That's why they have seen the world when world was moving the other way, and now due to the changes, due to the advancement, now where in which direction the world is moving, they can identify it very well. They do feel sharply and clearly the epoch which is beginning. It is the old people who can recognize the new beginning, the new revolutionary changes, and the new beginning of the new era, for they were there before it began, because they were having the background, because they were present before it began. So what is going to begin, they can very well identify, because they were present before its beginning. It is one of the artistic advantages of the aged, that they do see the new things relieved sharply against a background. They have the background, and they then after that background, if anything new takes place, they can very well sense it. They are shaped, definite, and distinct, very distinctively and very definitely. To the young, these new things are often themselves the background. Young have only that only the background. They don't have any previous one. That's why they don't have uh, they have limited perspectives, or they can't see the life in its entirety until they themselves get certain age or years, and are hardly seen at all. Hence even the most intelligent of innovators is often strangely mistaken about the nature of innovation and the things that are really new. Because innovator if there is something new that can be identified, not by those who have seen the things in new form only, but by those who have seen the older form, and then only they can identify the innovations which has taken place. And the oldest inhabitant will often indulge in a senile chuckle as he listens to the village orator proclaiming that the village church will soon be swept away and replaced by a factory for chemicals. And the older inhabitant, and whoever the person belonged to the previous age, or who is old now, who is the oldest inhabitant of that area, he will indulge in a senile quiet laugh. Senile chuckle is a quiet laugh by an old man. Senile, since senility is related to old age, that's why his laugh is senile chuckle. As he listens to the village orator, and whenever he listens to any village speaker who is proclaiming or declaring that the village church will soon be emptied out, or soon be destroyed, or soon be emptied out, and it is replaced by a factory for chemicals, it will become a chemical factory. And why it will become chemical factory? Because nobody is coming to church nowadays, nobody is going to church, beliefs are changed, new ideas have taken place. For the oldest inhabitant knows very well that it is a not a new thing. It happens earlier too, when they were young, because then too such kind of ideas or such kind of talks were in vogue or were in trend. But always what happens, knows very well that nobody went to church in the days of his childhood, except out of snobbishness, that out of pretentious, showing themselves pretentiously dismissive of the ideas which belong to past. In childhood also nobody used to go to church, and that it is in his old age, when he has experienced, or when he has observed, that when he is observing that the church has begun once more to be thronged with believers, that church is crowded, that now the church is crowded with so many religious minded people, so many believers. So it is in old age when man can see the things in its full form, that it is not a new matter, it is not a new deal, that in young age there were certain experience when church seemed to be an area or place where nobody comes or nobody attends, but in his old age he can see the crowd very well in church. In my capacity of oldest inhabitant, with senile chuckle, now Chesterton is speaking here that in my capacity, or whatever I can share with you, I will give one instance of a kindred kind. Kindred kind is similar kind of example he is giving. Now he is presenting to us, a man must be at least as old as I am in order to remember how utterly. So he is saying that to remember this thing which I am going to share with you, a man must be at least as much old as I am now, because then only he can feel that how it used to be very idiotic, very absolutely foolish, inconceivable, very we can say unimaginable, and crazily incredible, crazily unbelievable. It once seemed what was absolutely foolish, unimaginable, and unbelievable. That was that any educated or even reasonably shrewd person should confess that he believed in ghosts. So such beliefs, when the educated people, or it was quite impossible when we can find any educated. It was the time when it was impossible to find any educated or reasonably shrewd, means a person of average intelligence, that when any educated or a person who has an average intelligence is confessing or is believing in ghosts, there was an impossibility of finding any person who is educated and reasonably shrewd, or average, who has average intelligence, who is believing in ghosts. You must be nearly the oldest inhabitant to know with what solid scorn that if you have lived that time when what used to happen, when solid scorn, with solid means unmistakable contempt or disdain, could be seen on the face or in the eyes of such persons like squire and the parson. Squire is a male attendant or knight, parson is a priest or clergyman. Such persons, very unmistakable scorn could be seen when they used to deny the possibility of the village ghost. They used to say it very confidently that there is no possibility, or there is there is no village ghost. They used to declare it. The parson even more emphatically, with more emphasis, with more confidence than the squire. The village ghost was instantly traced to the village drunkard or the village liar, and it was the time when village ghost was considered to be will any fraud or any hooks, village any possible hooks. Educated people knew that the dead do not return in the world of sense. So it was the clear statement that they know it is a mere superstition. When it was the time when people used to pride in themselves by that they have overcome the superstitions, that they have understood the lie, or they have understood uh, the mockery of these superstitions. Those who remember those times and have lived to see a man of science, and those who remember those times, and it is possible in old age only, who have seen that time when ghosts existence of ghosts was scoffed at, when educated people or people with average intelligence used to scoff at the matters like existence. So we were discussing that how it is a special privilege or amusement of the people belong to old age, that they can have both the perspectives, or they have seen the both the time periods. The time period when the modern man or when the young people used to scoff at or mock at certain beliefs by considering them mere superstition, and the time when the modern man is conducting research, like this modern scientist Sir Oliver Lodge, who has discovered, or who is conducting research in certain areas of spiritualism, parapsychology, or paranormal activities, with all its seriousness, and that too with seriousness. So now it is amusing to listen the modern man or the people belong to young age for and to listen by those old people when the young men say the world is moving away from the supernatural, that now this is a new branch of science, or we can say that now certain the things which were considered to be mere superstitions are now believed to be scientific truths. They know in what direction it has really moved. It has really moved towards certain some more dimensions which were mocked, or which were not believed by the young people or the people when they were young, but now they are coming on terms, or coming to terms with those things along with the experience of their age. So this was the essay on the pleasures of no longer being very young by Chesterton, which is bound to delight the readers due to its originality of expression, where the essayist has presented he has practical, we can say, practical advantages of old age, and the tone is scholarly because the writer is proving his arguments with classical, biblical, historical, and literary allusions. And along with it, if I have to sum up this the we can say the essence of this essay, then I can say that on the whole the essay can be understood as a defense of the gravity and validity of old. So that's all for today. Thank you for your attention.